Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Dr. Imthiaz Hoosen. I'm a psychiatrist in Cape Town. I have put together this presentation for the Islamic Medical Association of South Africa, and I will be talking today about maintaining your mental health during the COVID-19 lockdown. Now, the recent coronavirus pandemic has caused a global crisis unlike anything that we have witnessed before. And this has brought with it a great deal of worry, uncertainty, and fear. And this is further fueled by the relentless news feeds and regular social media updates. So it's not surprising that many people are feeling distressed, feeling overwhelmed, and they're feeling anxious. And in addition, the recent lockdown has also cut people off from the usual network of support. So this can intensify their feelings of isolation and loneliness. So today I'll be discussing some tips that will help you to manage your anxiety and maintain your mental well-being during this very challenging time. There are 6 areas that I will be addressing. These are dealing with information overload, psychological well-being, maintaining a routine, maintaining your social network, spiritual well-being, and monitoring your mental health. Number 1, limiting excessive media usage. There's an endless stream of news reports and social media updates about the coronavirus pandemic. And this also includes a fair amount of misinformation and fake news. And this, together with the fact that many people have a lot more time available as a result of the lockdown, some people can become overly preoccupied and obsessed about the pandemic. And this can then generate a lot of unnecessary and unwanted fear and anxiety and panic. So one should try to limit the amount of time spent watching or listening to news feeds. It is, of course, necessary to get information and facts and not just rumor or misinformation. So I would suggest that you should limit your viewing to 1 or 2 reputable news sites, and schedule a specific time each day when you will check these sites. And also, it's important to set a time limit on the amount of time you spend on this particular activity. Number 2, psychological well-being. So during this very challenging and trying time, some people may feel overwhelmed, they may feel despondent, they may feel hopeless and helpless, they may worry excessively. And this can then cause a spiraling of negative thoughts. So changing our patterns of thinking by reframing our thoughts can have a beneficial effect on our emotions and our mental state. So instead of focusing on the negative thoughts, let's look for the positives in the situation. For example, a negative, pessimistic thought could be, I'm stuck inside this house. This could be reframed to a positive thought. This could be, I now have time to do those activities that I was not able to do before. So set yourself at least 1 productive task per day. This can help you to be more optimistic and give you a positive attitude. Secondly, practicing mindfulness. This is a type of meditation. This helps you to focus on the present moment, and it can help to reduce overthinking and negative thoughts. There are many websites and online videos which teach mindfulness, so I would recommend that you have a look at some of these. For children, the lockdown may be particularly difficult. Their normal routine has been disrupted, they can't go out and play, they're not able to visit their friends, and they're cooped up at home. So adults need to be mindful that children may need a lot more attention, support, and care at this particular time. Children may also feel confused and worried about what might be happening in the world. So parents should encourage children to talk about their concerns and also keep them informed about what is happening in the world by imparting information to them at a level that they can understand. And this can alleviate their fears and anxieties. Number 3, maintaining a routine. Having little to do for an extended period of time can result in a loss of daily structure. It is quite tempting to then fall into a more lethargic lifestyle, and it's easy to develop unhealthy sleeping patterns, like going to bed much later and waking up much later. So this can then lead to a disruption of your usual sleep-wake cycle. And changes to your sleep-wake cycle now can then have a negative impact on your mood later. So establish a routine at home that closely resembles your normal routine, including your normal times of sleeping at night and your time for waking up in the morning. Also, schedule a balanced range of activities, including time for work or study, time for leisure activities, chores. Ensure that you get regular exercise, maintain your self-care, and scheduling time for prayer and contemplation. Also, ensure that you're preparing healthy meals with set meal times. This will help you to avoid overeating. Remember to also incorporate good hygiene practices such as regular hand washing and get some exposure to sunlight, as it helps your body to produce vitamin D. Having a regular schedule can thus help one to have a sense of order and can also be quite comforting and reassuring. Also, it will be much easier for you to adjust when you have to return home, when you have to return back to school or work. Maintain your social network. In times of crisis, people usually come together to share experiences, to show solidarity, and to support each other. But following the outbreak of the coronavirus, we are now advised to self-isolate and to distance ourselves from others, which is exactly the opposite of what we would normally do as human beings in times of crisis. So what can we do? Well, fortunately, we know that social support is proven to be an important factor in protecting against the negative impact that stressful events can have. So we are still able to connect with our friends and family through the use of modern technology. For example, text messages, video calls, emails, and there's also various social media platforms where we can connect with others. This is also an ideal time to reconnect with long-lost friends and relatives, and it's also an opportunity to make new friends. Also, try to connect with people in your community who might be quite isolated right now. We know that maintaining positive social and family support, particularly for those who are living at home, can minimize the negative impact of stresses and can help them to feel less isolated. As much as we love our family members, we know that sometimes they can get on our nerves. And spending an extended period of time in a confined space with our family members can sometimes lead to family tension and conflict. So at this time, we need to make an even greater effort to keep calm, to exercise patience, and to be even more tolerant of each other. One suggestion is to have a dedicated personal space for each family member. This can help to diffuse tension by allowing individuals to then have time out from the rest of the family. If space is limited, then have a designated area that family members can take turns using for a limited period of time. And this may also help to diffuse some tension. On a positive note, the lockdown might be an ideal opportunity for us to spend more quality time with our family members, to engage in shared activities, and this can help to strengthen our family relationships and our family ties. Number 5, spiritual well-being. It's important for us to find meaning in what we do and to remember why we are doing what we do and why it is important and what we are trying to achieve on a broader level. This helps us to put our sacrifices that we are making into some perspective and also helps us to understand what is our greater purpose. So I'd like to share with you a hadith that I think is quite fitting for this particular occasion. The hadith is from Sahih Muslim. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Amazing is the affair of the believer. Verily, all of his affair is good. And this is not for anyone but or except the believer. If something good befalls him, he is grateful, and that is good for him. And if some of harm befalls him, he is patient, and that is also good for him." So the lockdown is an ideal opportunity for introspection. It's also an opportunity for us to increase in our ibadah, our worship, and to draw closer to Allah. There are a range of spiritual practices that we can engage in. For example, making salah, making dua, dhikr, reciting the Quran, listening to Islamic talks, making darood of salawat on our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reading his blessed seerah, giving sadaqah, engaging in other acts of charity, and helping others. We also know from research that individuals who engage in regular religious and spiritual practices have lower rates of anxiety and depression. And these practices also have a positive benefit on one's physical and mental health, and it's associated with a better quality of life. Monitoring your mental health. During this challenging time, it's important for all of us to monitor our mental well-being and to be aware of changes in our emotions, in our thoughts, and our behavior. Individuals who have pre-existing mental health conditions may be even more vulnerable at this particular time. So it's imperative that they be even more vigilant about monitoring their symptoms and also ensure that they continue to be compliant with their treatment. So some common symptoms of anxiety include feeling fearful, feeling on edge, feeling uneasy, having a feeling of dread. Individuals may also experience having lots of worrying thoughts. They find that they're overthinking, and they find that they can't switch off these thoughts. Anxiety might be also accompanied by physical symptoms like muscle tension, shortness of breath, having a fast heartbeat, dry mouth, sweating, shaking, dizziness, and headache. Common symptoms of depression include experiencing low mood or feeling of emptiness or numbness, having a loss of interest, having no enjoyment and pleasure in activities, even things that you would normally enjoy, being more irritable or being more withdrawn. And there may be changes in one's sleep and appetite, for example, usually reduced sleep or reduced appetite, having other symptoms such as low libido, feeling more fatigued, even after not doing much activity. People may struggle with poor concentration, they may be forgetful, they struggle to make decisions, they have low self-confidence, they feel guilty, and they experience more negative thoughts. They may also feel more hopeless and helpless, and some may even experience suicidal thoughts. So if you're noticing a deterioration in your mental health, or you feel that you're not coping, please reach out for help. There are several national organizations that provide mental health support. Organizations like the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, there's Lifeline, there's Childline. There are also a number of websites online with self-help information on mental health. You can also access help from your GP, your local clinic, or your day hospital. Also remember that most mental health professionals like psychologists, psychiatrists, and counselors are still working during the lockdown, and many of them are conveniently offering telephone and video consultations during this time, so you can access professional help without leaving your home. So to conclude, the coronavirus lockdown and its consequences are a cause of significant stress and anxiety for many, and this can lead to a deterioration of one's mental health. So some of the keys to maintaining your mental health and mental well-being during this time include establishing a balanced routine at home, limiting the amount of time you spend on media updates, maintaining your social contacts, having a positive outlook, engaging in spiritual practices, monitoring your mental health, and putting your trust in Allah. Shukran for listening to this talk. I hope that you have found it beneficial. And if you have, please share this talk with others. Whatever good there is in this presentation is from Allah, and whatever mistakes I have made, they are from myself. May Allah bless us, protect us, and grant us ease at this particular time. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.